an answer that middle-aged people are more mobile, or middle-aged people have more agility. Or he'll say a 54-year-old person who does yoga can do a somersault, right? That is how he will be able to say the same thing in a different way, expecting you to understand it, right? There cannot be a second answer in the SAT. Any attempt to tell your teacher or anyone that's actually, I think the answer is A, you're saying it's B. There is no doubt. There can only be one answer. Either the teacher is wrong or you are wrong, right? Next, you know, what I see when you answer questions now, I will give you a format. I will give you a tariqa. I will give you a method on how I feel or we feel in our institute as to how you should answer the various types of questions. Now, I leave it to you I leave it to you to bring in as much flexibility as you want into the answering of these questions. Don't be inflexible. For example, if I tell you that this is a paired question, and I tell you that you first convert the top into a question, then you go and check out the lines and match the lines on top. But should you know the answer of the head of the first question, so why do you wait? You take the answer and then find the lines, right? I am not, don't ever be stuck to a certain this thing. A format is very important. A method is very important. But if you can alter the method to your benefit, please go right ahead. That is something that I must tell you. Now, the basic fundamental of all kinds of answering questions is the process of elimination. What is the process of elimination? That I am not looking for the right answer. What am I doing? I am looking for three wrong answers. If my answer is B, I must be convinced that A, C, and D are wrong. For what reason? And my answer is B. It ensures that there is no ambiguity and my answer is decisively correct. All right. See, the examiner tries a whole lot of tricks, right, to generate a wrong answer. So how he does that, he generates a large number of traps. A large number of traps. Now, what are traps? Traps. I will cover this again when I come to the reading part of it. But let me just quickly enunciate a few of the major traps which are there. The first one is that when I need an answer that's very narrow. I want an answer that is particular to India. He gives me an answer that's particular to the world. I want a narrow answer, he gives me a broad answer, and vice versa. I need a broad answer, he gives me a narrow answer, especially when I do a main idea question. I need an answer that covers the whole passage. He gives me an answer that comes out of two lines, right? The next, extreme words. Whenever you see an answer now which has extreme words, always, every time, without fail, right? Everyone, all, none. These answers are usually seen with suspicion. See, I'm applying the same rule to myself. I am not saying they are always wrong. That is also harsh, right? That is also harsh. I am saying you must see these answers with suspicion. At times, the passage may be harsh. The passage may be in an extreme version. So it may be right. But most times, you must look at such answers with suspicion. I come to another very favorite trap of the examiner. It's called the recycled word trap. Now, what is this recycled word trap? He picks up a word from the passage and puts it into an answer, hoping that you'll match these two and generate this as the answer, which is wrong. He says something about the Industrial Revolution in the text, and in the answer, he says, enumerate the benefits of the Industrial Revolution. In the other side, he said something else about the Industrial Revolution. The only thing which is right is that Industrial Revolution is written in both places. This is the recycled word trap we should be very careful of. You're looking for a positive answer, and you see an answer which says Anil Malik is not ugly. So you want to have a testing where this guy is handsome. So you see an answer called not ugly. So you remove it. You say this is not the answer because it's negative. It's not. Two negative make a positive. It is something that you need to see. You have to be aware of, and you must see the double negative trap. Then you play with words. For example, I got up to have breakfast. The answer will say, I got up and had breakfast. Right? They're two different things. I got up, my mom told me that the cook has come, you go and have your breakfast. So I got up and had my breakfast. But I studied till 2 in the morning. I got up in the morning and I said, I'll get up, eat my breakfast and go to sleep. So in the second case, I got up to have my breakfast. In the first case, I got up and had my breakfast. It's two different things. The other thing, you play with plurals. One scientist said that you will go to NASA. The answer says scientist said that you will go to NASA. Right? It's wrong. Only one scientist had said it inside the text. These are things you need to. Right. Now, where should food be grown is the question, right? And one of the answers says agriculture is very important for the economy. You can't fault it. You cannot fault anyone saying that agriculture is important for the economy. But is it the answer? It is not. It doesn't answer my question. And apart from all these, the favorite things, the answer may be illogical, it may be irrelevant, and it may be incorrect. It best may not be the right answer. All right. The other thing is that, I might want a positive answer, he'll give me a negative answer, and vice versa. Right? These are the little traps. No one's going to ask you that enumerate the traps, right? But these, if you are aware of, right, help you to answer the questions more decisively and with more answers getting right. All right. Without beating around the bush, let's now go to the let's go now to allow me to share my screen, right? Give me a second. Right, can you all see the screen? Yeah, I'm sure you can. Right, now see, what is this question which I show you in front, what this question which I show you here, right? Let's first go straight to the main idea question, right? Now this is a passage, and how does the main idea question look like? Let me just show this to you, right? A main idea question looks like this. Give me a second. See, look at this. He says, right? He says, what is the main idea of the passage? Or he says, right, look here, what the primary purpose of the passage is so and so. Now, how do I do a main idea question? That is what needs to be explained. See, the main idea is what? What is the main idea? The main idea of a topic or a passage is, what is the essence of the passage? The passage might be about, shall we say, hockey, right? But so the topic is hockey. But the main idea of the passage is how to improve Indian hockey, right? The main idea is always the topic plus something. The topic plus something. Now, how do I get the main idea? How do I get the main idea? See, many people say that you can get the main idea from the introduction and the conclusion. I agree. I agree. If I write an article on the state of Indian hockey, I will state my main idea in the introduction and I will state my main idea even in the conclusion. But you have to remember that there is a necessity, right, for all of us to understand that, right, there's a necessity for all of us to understand that the uh, main idea from the introduction to the conclusion may change. Now, how will it change? That's something I need to understand. How will it change? Right? I start with the thing, suppose the passage is about myself, then I'm very good, I'm this, I'm this. And then the last 3 paragraphs, something happens to me and I become very bad. So the main idea might change, and most SAT articles are argumentative. This one chap says something, one chap says something else. But to ensure that my main idea does not change, what do? I read the first and last sentence of each paragraph. Right? And uh, I read the first and last sentence of each of the paragraphs, and then, right? Then what do is I make sure that if my first the initial story, the initial idea that I chose for myself does not change en route. For example, when I read this passage, I read lines after I'm reading after lines 10. Just give me a second. Give me a second. Right. Right. I see. When I read this passage, I read here. This is not. This is what he's. This is the example of a passage in which the main idea comes in the second paragraph. So when I read the second paragraph, I find that he tells me that America. I'm not going to read it because it'll take too much time. Right. America and the Soviet Union must somehow get together to reduce the tension in the world. Right? Now, it's my business to do what? It's my business to go and read the first and last sentence of each paragraph. And then I come to the end. And when I see the end, he tells me the United States is ready, right? And he says, if the Soviet Union could join us, we could face the future with more certainty. I have no doubt that my main idea, which I picked up from the second para, is constant and consistent right up to the end. So when I answer question number two, right, I'll pick up an answer which says, right, I'll pick up an answer which tells me that propose a course of action that would result in a reduction of tension between the Soviet Union and the United States. How I'll eliminate, I will cover when I come to the reading part of the this thing, which is on the next Sunday, right? All right. Today we will just focus on the basic fundamentals as to how we should do the various types of questions. Let's go to the next type of question, right? Let's go to the next type of question. Now, there's one more thing before I go further. Sometimes what happens, sir, you'll get a literature passage. Now, this is an example of a literature passage. It's a literature passage taken from a book called Annie John, written by Rebecca Kincaid. Right now, this this passage, you have to believe me when I say this passage does not have a main idea. Right? It does not have a main idea. A literature passage will not have a main idea. Why won't it have a main idea? Because it's an extract. It's an extract of a book. Right? It is not the whole book. So it will not have a main idea, but it will have a structure. It will have a structure which you have. That is the structure which you have to see, and you probably get an answer like a question like this: which choice best summarizes the passage? The primary, right, the best choice best summarizes the passage. The primary purpose of the passage is, so you have to generate the story, right? How do we teach literature passages? We recommend that you read this passage in three parts. You divide it into three convenient parts. You condense each of these three parts into five words and make a one sentence story, right? For example, a character is eager to complete a school assignment but becomes anxious after absorbing her this. That's a one sentence story which we should be able to. So a literature passage, as I mentioned to you, differs from any other passage in that you have to read the passage. Should you get a question like the one I showed you on top, that which choice best summarizes the passage? You'll get a question like which choice gives out the correct sequence of events, right? So you have to read the passage and generate that sequence. So you know that this is the sequence that happened. All right, I'm going further. Vocabulary in context. Now, what does vocabulary in context mean? See, what does vocabulary in context mean? Anil is my name. I have a very severe temper, right? Now, what does temper mean? Temper means I get angry very soon. My pop tells me, right? My father says that you must temper your anger. What does temper mean? Temper means to control. Now, what have I done? I've shown you the use of the word temper in two sentences, and each of the answers is diametrically opposite. Therefore, sir, when you see a question of vocabulary in context is worded like this. See here. He says, as used in line 2, seasoned most nearly means. He's not asking you the meaning of the word seasoned. He's saying, as used in the sentence, what is the meaning of the word? What is the meaning of the word seasoned? Right? That is what we have to understand. That when I look at the question, it suggests to me that he's not asking me the dictionary meaning. Let me say this once more. I think I told it to you last time. Should you find an answer that's very close to the dictionary meaning, you should look at it with suspicion. It will rarely in all cases not be the right answer. All right. I'm going further. I'm going further. I'm going further. All right. Now, this is how these questions appear, right? This is how these questions appear. Now, how do I do this question? That is important now. That is important, right? Let me go and do one question for you. Let me go and do one question for you, right? Let me do a question, right? So when I do a question, it comes like this. Let me do question number. Let me do this question. As used in line 4, dispensed with most nearly means. So I look at so what do? I go and look. So what's my first step? My first step is I read for context, right? What do? I read for context. What does it mean? I read to try and understand that in the context of the sentence or the paragraph, what does this word try to tell you? So I read. Around the middle of the century, 20th century, science dispensed with the fantasy that we could easily colonize the other planets in our solar system. All right, I'm being very frank with you. At the moment, I understood nothing to be able to identify what this word dispensed meant. So I read more. So what did I read? I read science fiction writers absorbed this new reality, and soon the moon and the asteroid settings, right? Sorry, the moon and the asteroid settings replaced Mars and Venus. So what did he tell me? What did I understand? I understood that they did something to the fantasy that we could colonize the planets. And then what happened? Science fiction writers absorbed this new reality, that they did something to the fantasy. And what did they do? They stopped going to the planets and they started going to the asteroids. So I know that when I saw the word dispensed, they did something that was negative to it. I got the tone. Ki bhaiya, they did something negative. It is negative oblique neutral. Not at all, nothing positive. If there was positive, they would go to the planets. So I need a negative word. Are you all, if you're, I'm sure you are with me because I can't listen to you guys. So therefore, I get the tone right. That's the next. Now what I do now, sir, I put my own word. That, all right. Instead of dispensed, I put my own word in Hindi, Punjabi, whatever, English. I put my own word. And I say, what happened? They got rid of this fantasy. They got rid, or they shed this fantasy that they could easily colonize the planets because they stopped going to the planets. So I need a word which I'm saying they got rid of. They got rid of it, or they shed it. Right. Now my fourth step is I go and match an answer on top and which matches my context, my tone, and my word. So when I go and look about it, it is not distributed, identified, or renewed. The only answer is shed, got rid of, they disposed that fantasy. They disposed it. Right? Are you all with me? I'm sure you are. But I can't listen to you, so I'm sure you are. So I just carry on the way I am. Right? So these are the steps which you must keep in mind when you do a vocabulary question. Read for context, identify the tone of the word with which you want to replace it. Now, go and check out your own word. Put your own word, matching the tone and the context, match the answers, get the answer. All right, let's go to the next type of question. And what's the next type of question, sir? The next type of question comes something like this. Look at it, right? There's a question, right? There's a question. There's a question here, and there's a question here, right? Now, these two questions, sir, you must understand are done together. This is called the head. This is called the tail, right? The head has the question and the answer choices. The tail has just the lines. It has the lines from where this fellow has taken the answers. He's got the set of lines from where he's taken the answer. You have to remember that the answer to this question has to come from here. You can find them in any other line. I'm not interested. The answer must come from lines 5 to 7 or 24 to 25 or 44 to 46 or 46 to 48. Right. It's like if that's clear, I'll move one step further. Right. Now, how do we do this question? How do I do this question? How do I do this question is something which I need to bring to your notice. Right. See what can happen. A paired question can come to you in many shapes and sizes. Number one, it can come to you with a line reference. The question on top has a reference to a line. Look at this. The intersecting domes of light in line 34 could best be described as. And it comes to you with a set of uh, what is called places from where you are supposed to get the evidence, right, for the answer. Now, the method to do it is very simple. You read the question, you convert the question into you convert the head, you convert the head into you convert this fellow into a question. What, when, where, how, that type of question. And then you go and match the answers. You go and read this line, you paraphrase it, and go and check on top which one matches, right? But if there is a line reference, it makes sense to read the lines. So when I went to see and read line 34, I read, now most of humanity lives under intersecting domes of light, of scattering rays from overlit cities. So when I saw overlit and I saw the word now, right? And from light flooded, in most cities, the sky looks as if it's a vacant haze. So I realized that, yeah, whatever these intersecting domes of light are negative, right? So when they are negative, I looked at the answer choices. So I removed all the three positive answers. So I removed C, and I removed D. I was left with one answer. And when I see now most of humanity lives under intersecting domes of light, you ask me, my sir, shall we say a person asks, how is this student doing in studies? So I say, sir, now he's doing well. So what do I mean? That yeah, Pele he was not doing well, right? So I don't. So that's what I was telling you. When you have be flexible. If you have got the answer like this, keep it. Now go and check the lines. Now go and check the lines. So when I go and checking the lines, I see lines 12 to 30. Now give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Right. I go to lines 12 to 30. Right. I go to lines 12 to 30. Now what do I see in 12 to 30? I read. He says this is like damming a river. Right. It's like damming a river. I don't have an answer choice which says damming a river. I go to 24 to 25. I read 24 to 25. Give me a second. I read 24 to 25. What do I read? For most of human history, the phrase light pollution would have made no sense, right? Now it makes sense. So when I say the answer is a recent development, that means pehle nahi tha. It was not there. So I have an answer. I have an answer. That is how it happens, sirs. And I assure you, if you practice, right? If you practice this whole thing, it's not rocket science, sir. It is easily masterable. You will be able to get it. You'll very easily be able to get this answer should you be able to practice this more. Let me go further. Now let me go and show you another type of question. The other type of question, sir, is a question where there's no line reference. So I get a question like this, right? I get a question like, just look at this question. This is, give me a, sorry, right, look at this question. One, look at this question. The author indicates that food should be grown. Where should that food should be grown? So and so place. See, I recommend that you convert this into a question. How, when, where, what, why, whatever words you want to put, you put. So I put a, now what happens, sir? Suppose I play golf, sir. I play golf. So there's a question, how does Mr. Malik play golf? Right? Right. And the question can be, how does he play golf? Why does he play golf? When does he play? Where does he play? With whom does he play? So with whom does he play? You're looking for some guys, some names. Where does he play? You're looking for a place. Why does he play? You look for a reason. When does he play? You're looking for a time. How does he play? You're looking for capability. Right? So when I look for an answer, I'm looking to answer that question. For example, I convert this into a question. So what's my question? When I look at this, sir, my question is, where should food be grown? Right? Now, I'm looking for a choice. I am now going to look for a place. I'm going to look for a choice which shows me a place. So I read lines 3 to 5. Because shipping food over long distances results in so and so, right? It doesn't tell me a place, right? So this is not the answer. I go to line 7 to 10. Activists particularly dislike air freighting food because it uses more energy. It doesn't tell me a place, so it's also not the answer. I come to 12 to 14. What does he say? He says, but food mild advocates fail to grasp the simple idea that food should be grown where it is most economically to do so, where more advantageous to do so. He told me a place. And what is the place? Where it is economically advantageous to do so. So this is my place, sir. This is my answer. I can check the other one also. Now, I go and match this on top. What is this line saying? It must be grown where it is economically advantageous. I go and check. So I see crops can be grown in a cost-effective manner. Done. The answer is done. Right. I'll tell you another thing. See, look at answer B. Temperature remain warm throughout the year. Perfect answer. Perfect answer. Right? Agriculture plays a central role in the economy. Perfect answer, but it's a trap. These answers are right, but they're not the answers that I want. These are not the answers, not that I want. These are not the answers these are not the answers. They don't answer your question. That is what you need to see in a paired question. We all got that? Perfect. Let me move to the next type of question. Let me go to the next type of question. Right. Give me a second. Right. Now we come to a question called a function question, sir. A function question. Now, what is a function question? A function question, sir, is not asking you what has the author written, right? He's asking you why has the author written and why. And I show you this little piece of paper just to tell you how a function question is worded. It'd be worded like this: the main purpose of the second para is so and so, right? The quotation of the phrase in line so and so serves to do this. The author makes the comparison in line so and so to do this, right? This is how a function question is worded, right? If you're like writing a passage on the state of hockey in India, right? So when you write your introduction, you will write, so you will say hockey, there is no, shall we say, no good coaches. That is para one. Para two, you will say there are no good playing fields. Para three, you will say we don't have any competition. So when I read the second para, I know what was the. Why did you include the second para in the passage? You included the second passage to tell me we don't have good playing fields, right? So if I go and get the main, so the question is, what is the purpose? What is the function of the second para? If I go and get the main idea of the para, I will be able to answer the question, right? However, at times, as you notice, sir, at times, right? At times, the question will not be the at times the question sorry the will the question will be a little different, right? For example, I'll be going to show it to you. Let me go and show it to you. Sometimes you get a question like this. I'll show it to you. Right. Look at this question, sir. Look at these question number one and question number two. They come from the same paragraph, sir. Right? The reference to capturing, storing, and sharing, the reference to capturing, storing, and sharing pictures, right, refers to what? And then I come to number 21 to 22. The references to local weather, etc., primarily serve to do what? Now, if I tell you that the way to get the function question answer is to get the main idea of the paragraph, I'm telling you, I'm not being right. I'm not right because both the questions cannot be answered with the same idea of this paragraph. In these cases, sir, when you see a focused function, when it's focusing on a few things, go and read the lines, read them for context, get the answer. Always understand you are not getting what is the author saying, you are actually answering why is the author saying it, right? All right. Shall I go? I'll go one step further. I'll go one step further and let's go and see now, right? Well, give me a second. Give me a second. All right. You give me a second, sir. Sorry. Let's come here. Now see. When I come to this question, this is the type of question which I told you is a graph question, which is another question which comes in the exam. Now, how do I do a graph question? It's a simple thing, sir. I read the graph, sir, up and down. I read everything about the graph, the heading, the niche ka hissa, the left side, the right x-axis, y-axis. I read everything. And now I go to the question. I read the question very carefully, sir. Right? I read the question very carefully because he's asking me about 2005. So when I read 2005, I go and check out A. I go and check out, A. I check, is this the answer? No. I check out B. Is it the answer? Yes. C, no. Yeah. So I'll come to only one answer will be right. Only one answer will be right. So I choose that as my answer. Your ability to see the graph, sir, or read the graph becomes important, right? To that end, all of you who can't read a graph need to practice that, right? Now, sometimes what happens is you get a question like this: which choice best summarizes the information in the graph? Now, suppose, shall we say, if I read, one of the answers may be right, but it's not the summary. The summary is what does this graph in effect say, right? So the graph actually tells me that peak drive hard capacity or peak hard has over the years increased from 2 in 1980, it is 12 kilobytes per what is it now, right? So when I check this, I need an answer which is a broad answer, which covers the whole graph and not the this. I'll say one more thing. So very often, you get a question that which choice is best supported by the graph and the passage. Now, what happens, sir? Many of the students go and start reading the passage. So please understand that it has to be right first in the graph, then in the passage. First, it will be right in the graph, now, so then it will be in the passage. So you first read the graph. If you still can't get an answer, then you might like to read the passage. Otherwise, you have to it has to be right both places, that's it. So sometimes you might just get the answer without even going to the passage because the graph will tell you कि उसमें से कौन सा answer सही है. All right, let's go to the next one. The next type of question, sir, which I want to show you is a shift in focus question, right? It's a shift in focus. Now, what does shift in focus mean, sir? It's a question is always worded like this. Over the course of passage one, the main focus shifts from so and so to so and so, right? The main focus shifts from so and so to so and so. Now, remember, sir, remember the focus shift question, sir, has to focus must shift from you to me or me to you or vice versa, right? So when I see this question, sir, how do I answer this question? If you look carefully now, if you look carefully, all these questions have a two in the middle. Oh, dekho, two, there's a two here, there's a two here, there's a two here, right? Now, if I join all these twos now, sir, if I join them like this, I get two sets of answers, one on the left, one on the right. So if the focus has to shift from X to Y, first X must be right. First X must be right. So if I read the first 10, 20 lines and identify which of the left side answers, the left of the two is right, that's my answer, sir. Because only then is the Y right. So if I can match the X first, I should get an answer. You might think, see, this is what I'm not, see, this is what we would like, I would like to call, uh, being smart. That if for X to Y is the shift in focus, X has to be right now, sir. So pehle X ढूंढो. If there are two X's with two things which mean the same, I'll go and see Y. Right? All right. If that much is understood, let me go to show you. Sometimes what happens now, so the examiner, he understands कि you will do something like this. So he gives you a question in reverse. Right? He gives you a question in reverse. So look at this question now. Look at this one. He gives you a question in reverse. He says, which of the following best characterize the shift in focus from line 46? Right? Which choice best summarizes the focus shift from line 46? He's not bothered about the first part. This case, I will now look for Y. I will now look for Y. So when I read this line, Nasser, it tells me in this sort of what remarks could I not make? What remarks could I not make? I have a moment to make them. Right? But it will fix the attention. So she's going to make some of her own remarks, right? Now, when I go and check an answer, I now need to see the Y, the other side of the two. So when I see she is offering a personal opinion. The answer. Now I'm going to match the Y rather than the X. I'm going to match the Y. You can try this out. It works. It works. So this is a focus shift question in reverse. I'll go further, right? Now, so you get questions on tone. What does the word imagine have? What is the function of the word imagine? Tone. What does tone do, sir? Tone makes the thing either positive or negative, right? So identify negative, positive. Then I go look for an answer. Look for an answer which suggests a negativity or a positivity, right? For example, if I go and check this, if I go and do this one, he tells me in line 24, what does the word imagine mean? So I read. So he says, but imagine looking at billions of photos over the weeks, months, and then correlating them with dozens of so and so. So I know he's asking me to think about something. Nothing negative, sir. Nothing negative. He's asking me to think about something. Neutral stroke positive. So I see. So mysterious is out. Skeptical is out. Defiant is out. I have one answer. When you start working the negative positive, you will see eliminations happening automatically. This is something that which if we all understand, we can capitalize on. We can capitalize on. And that's something we must do. We must do. You have to remember, sir, that our attempt is to answer the maximum number of questions and answer them correctly and quickly. All right. The next question. The next question you can get is an evidence question. right? An evidence question. Now, how does an evidence question happen, sir? An evidence question is shown like this. Which choice best supports the author's claim that an excess of choice can lead consumers to become overwhelmed? How do I do this question, sir? How do I do this question? I'll show you how I do it. I do it like this. I look at this question and I say, what is he asking me? What's he asking me? So he's saying an excess of choice, consumer confused, consumer overwhelmed, right? Excess choice, consumer is confused. Now I go and check lines 3 to 5. I go and read the lines, right? And I look for a line where the consumer is confused. So I go to 3 to 5. So I read, what do I see in 3 to 5? They assume, for instance, that offering 50 styles of jeans increases the chances that they will buy it. So he's not confused. He is actually happy. It's ulta of my answer. I go to 18 to 20. What does he say? But when the time came to purchase, now, remember, sir, when I see an answer choice, na, sir, which starts with but. Now, I'm not teaching you English, but. But is a contrast word. It contrasts two things. So I have to read what did it contrast. So I read before. He says that when people were shown, some people were shown more, some people were shown less, right? But the people who saw less or more were 1/10 as likely to buy as people who saw. So here it is. The guy who was given more choice, he was confused. I got answer. So if you convert this into what two things, what are you looking for? Choice, more choice, consumer confused. Go look for an answer which answers this question. You have an answer. You have an answer. All right, sir, as I tell you now, sir, as I tell you, all these things are not rocket science, but you need to practice. Practice and you will get all your questions right. All right. This is another question, sir. Same way. Best evidence, sharing-based companies face serious challenges from establishment. What am I looking for? What am I looking for? Sharing-based companies, threat from established companies. Right? I'm not going to go into it, but let me show you. When I read lines 27 to 29, if you read with me, in some American cities, peer-to-peer taxi services have been banned after lobbying by traditional taxi firm. Traditional established firm creating problems for a sharing firm. Right? That is evidence. That's the evidence type question. Simple questions, sir. Simple questions require you to practice a little bit. Now, so that is the question, that is the types of questions and the types of questions which I felt, what about it I feel? They are the type of questions which come into your exam. They come in the exam. I have gone over the steps that as we teach on how to do the various types of questions, right? The various types of questions. So it is now, so what you need to do is I go along with the steps, right? And should you find a problem with the steps, you either modify them or whatever. But whatever steps we have told you, if you follow these steps, I'm sure you're going to get quite a large number of questions correct. But I'm done for today. I'll take questions if there are any.
So it was really a great session. Got to know much more about the different approaches we can use, how to identify the type of questions, what are the different approaches can be done. Like one of the concept I liked, like you could just try to understand which word is to be used, the rhetoric question of W, where, what, of that sort. So it was really good. I would like you to take you through some questions. Uh, how do we identify whether two subsequent questions are paired or not? I suppose.
Are paired or not. So the question is worded like that. See what you have to what whoever's asked you this question is actually asked it very is it's a question which we actually teach. Why? What happens most times in the SAT? They will put the if it's a paired question, one part of the question will be on one page, the other one will be on the other page,
Mhm.
right? So it's very important that when an examinee goes and sees the paper, when he sees a question at the end, he must turn the page over and check, is this a paired question or not, right?
Mhm.
And a paired question will repeat itself because the first question will be that whatever, where should food be grown? The next question be where from which lines did you get the evidence for the answer to the previous question? It'd be very explicit.
Mhm.
You cannot miss it.
Okay. Right. So there is one more question. Despite practicing, my reading score is remaining constant. How do I try and improve this status?
If I get the question right, whoever's asked you this question saying that my score is constant, it is not improving. So
Mhm.
if your score is not improving, it is obvious that there is a necessity either to revise a concept or revise a concept, refine a concept, right? And more importantly, its application. Its application, right? Application. Also, sir, what happens, I know the answer is already there. I can't see it. I
Mhm.
can't see it. For example, I'll explain, give you an example. The answer is that you become a good chess player because of genetics, right? Genetics plays an important role in making you a good chess player. The question is, what makes you a good chess player, right? Now, the answer will be things that cannot be changed, right? Some things that cannot be changed. Now, genetics cannot be changed, right? Genetics cannot be changed. That's the answer. So, your ability to match these, right? Now, how does that come? That comes if you are finding your scores constant. Obviously, there's a problem with your comprehension, right? So there is a necessity for you to read. You read more, not you practice reading, so that when you read and you're reading and understanding, your comprehension becomes that much better. Your comprehension comes better, it will reflect in higher scores,
Correct.
right? All right.
Okay. Sir, there is one more question. If there are two answers very similar, their literal meaning is pretty same. How do we figure out in such situation?
Actually, sir, I would have preferred, if I have an example, but I don't have an example. But I can tell you, sir, I can tell you that in the SAT, there can only be one right answer. There
Mm.
can only be right answer. I also say, right? I also say that if there are two words now, just the meaning is little bit similar, they cannot be the answer. For example, I'll give you an example. I'll give an example. Many people say that if I give you more hours of leisure, it will result in the acquisition of vicious habits, right? Or vicious habits. Now the answers: severe, ferocious, cruel, and idle. Right? Right. Now, suppose I pick up severe or cruel, then why not ferocious? If I pick up ferocious, then why not cruel? Right? So if there are similar sounding words, now similar whose words, this thing, you should actually avoid them. We should avoid. But should there be two words which sound the same, you be assured that there will be a subtle difference between the meanings of these words, which the student should identify. He
Okay.
should be able to identify the subtle difference between the meaning exclusive, preferred, and particular. He should be able to he should be able to understand the difference.
Correct, correct. So it was really good to get a quick live example about this sort of question. There is one more question I would like you to answer about. Can you please suggest some books to master our reading section apart from solving sample papers of SAT?
No problem, sir. So when I come to my reading class, sir, which is the next Sunday, I will
Mhm.
bring a list of books, sir, which I will give to you. You can give it to the kids, all of them, not an issue.
Great, great. That would be a really of much help for the
Yes, sir.
students.
We have developed a list of books. We have a list of articles. We keep updating them so they are in
Mhm.
sync with what the SAT gives in the exam, right?
Mhm.
We keep doing that. We keep current with all these things, and we will share a list of books, sir, not an issue.
Yeah. Sir, and one last question for you. What is the format we must follow while doing reading passages? That is, should we read the passage first or skim through the questions?
Sir, I have said it earlier. I
Yes.
have said it earlier, but I don't mind saying it again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't mind saying it again. See, anything you do, sir, anything you do in an exam or in life, sir, it must have an objective.
Mm.
It must have an objective. If I
Mhm.
read the passage for 6 minutes, sir, right? If I read the passage for 6 minutes, right? And when I come and answer the questions, for every question, I have to go back into the text, right? I have to go for read the line 15. I have
Mm.
to read the evidence similar. I have to read the graph, right? I
Mm.
have to go back and read. right? So why did I read for 6 minutes, sir? 6 into 5 is 30 minutes, sir. So I've taken away 30 minutes from 65 minutes of reading time, right?
Correct.
So, so as see, they go initially as a student prepares, he must read. He must read. As he gets smarter, as his comprehension increases, there are a large number of questions which can be done without reading the passage only. For example, a paired question. I can go and find the answer by reading those lines. I can
Correct.
answer a vocabulary question by going to that line and getting the context right. I can answer what is the role of the sixth para by reading the sixth para,
Right.
right? Have you understood, sir? So I am not going to say one that you don't read or read, but I am just saying when you read smartly, sir. You
Right.
read smartly and you read for effect. Now, what do I mean by reading for effect? Reading for effect means the reading time must translate into marks.
Correct.
If I have to read the fourth paragraph in detail, I should read it when I'm answering question number 4, which is asks me to tell you the function of the fourth para. I must read it in detail and get 8 marks for it, rather than first read it when I'm starting and then read it again afterwards. Right? That is what I'm trying to say. I will cover more of this when I come to you on the reading thing. But
Okay.
I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm saying depends on you yourself, right? On you yourself, right? See, I will make my students in the initial stage read the passages, right? But at some stages, I'll even practice them. I will practice them to do passages without reading. Why? Why? There's a reason. You have to understand, sir. There is a reason. I am left with 20 minutes. I am left with 2 passages, sir. Now I have no time to read, sir. Right? So I will do all the questions which I can do without reading, right? Vocabulary, paired, function questions, graph questions. I'll do those, right? I'll do them and not read. Have you see? So I cannot say one thing or the other, but I recommend as you start your preparations, read. As you get smarter and you come to know how to do various types of questions, like if my first question is shift and focus question, I don't need to read, sir. I'll read the first 10 lines and answer it. And now other 10 questions have line references in line 29, 39, 49. I'll go and read the lines and get the answers. And
Correct.
when I say, no, sir, don't, when I say read smartly, for one moment, you have to understand the whole passage will be read. It will be read, but it will be read when I am answering the various types of questions. I'm going to read the whole passage in detail, but I'm going, when I read para 6, because the question is on para 6, I will get my 8 marks after reading it. That's what I'm saying.
Wow, sir, very well answered this question. Even I got a much clarity how regarding the preparation part, like what stage you are in. If in case in initial stages, it is highly recommendable to read first and enhance your skill, and then get back to that particular stage wherein you could, understand or directly identify the type of questions which could be answered, and then like slowly and steadily start getting the smart reading type of approach. So I guess all the questions has been answered, and all the answers were really fantastic. The overall approach of the different approaches what you taught were great. So thank you once again a lot, and thank you everyone for attending this session. So stay tuned for the next session. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, sir. See you on Sunday, sir. Take care. Bye bye. All the best.